Hi everybody, my name is Nick, notoriously known as The Bull, and I'm here with my good friend Rich Ehrlich. Welcome to Rich and the Bull, another fantastic episode where we're going to show you and help you to think like the rich and sort out the bull so that you can make smart and sound financial decisions. Today, we're going to talk about the number one killer of retirement, which is, Mr. Ehrlich?
Well, Nick, one of the things that the biggest killer of retirement is something that's not sexy and not exciting at all. It's called taxes. And it's something that most investors really don't have in their mind when they're creating a plan. They're thinking about which investment that they're going to make. And specifically, we're talking about people's, probably their biggest retirement account that they have, either an IRA or a 401k. And I always ask people, I said, well, how much money in that account is yours? And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, have you ever paid taxes on that account? No. Do you think you have to pay taxes on that account? Yes. And so we're talking about some real numbers here, and it has a big, big impact on how much you can live on when you retire.
Most people don't realize that most of the deductions that are available to them when in their working part of their lives now became unavailable to them when they're going to retire. And so there's this whole myth about being at the lower tax bracket,
right.
But let's get into that a little bit.
So it's interesting, when somebody starts, when they first get married or they start working, right, they have deductions. You probably have family deductions, you probably have mortgage deductions, maybe have business deductions. Well, when you hit that magic retirement button, Nick, guess what? I'm hoping your kids are out of the house. More than likely you've paid off the house. Probably don't have any more business deductions. So that same, whatever amount of money, call it $100,000, when you put your hand into that pot of money and say, hey, I need to live on that $100,000. Now, not only are you in the lower bracket, you're in the higher bracket because you have nothing to offset it. And let's put some context to this. People say, well, what does that really mean? So you're talking about potentially between 30 and 70% of the entire account value could go to taxes depending on which state you live in. And that's only with where we are today. Congress today is talking about raising taxes to 90%. So it's a real misnomer. People don't really understand how it works. And if you get this wrong, you know what? You're going to be working a lot longer than you thought.
Yeah, the big thing that I see when we're talking to clients is that they're assuming that the long-term, short-term capital gains tax is not going to go up, even though there's some $77 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We're at $22 trillion on a deficit. When you can kick the can down the road so far, I don't know if you've ever played that game, but eventually you hit the sidewalk and the can bounces back into your face, right? And you got to go deal with it. So there's no way that we are not going to have taxes go up down the road, and people, you defer. I think one of the things that kills me is that if somebody goes into a qualified account, like let's just say you could put $50,000 into a 401k, right?
Right.
What people don't realize, and you know this best of all, is that you can only deduct up into your tax bracket, right? So if you're at a 25% tax bracket, you're deducting $12,000, right? 12.5, whatever. Okay, so you're still paying tax on the other 38%.
Well, let me ask you, you do a tremendous amount of tax planning, a lot of strategies around the country. What do you see as some of the biggest issues facing investors today and how it's killing their retirement?
They're not creating non-taxable events. The biggest thing is that, I think it's something that's inherent in people. Your grandpa did it, your dad did it. They said, go to work, right? Go to work, participate in your 401k, and, your employer is going to match you 4%, 6%, whatever it is. People don't, realize that it doesn't matter if it matches you 4 to 6% if you lose 40% of your retirement, but that's another topic that we did. The other side of it is that eventually you got to go pay that tax. And instead of going into alternative things where they create non-taxable events or they pay the little bit of tax now, they don't think like that, because the people that are the pushers, the guys that are pushing this stuff down their throat, they don't have an inherent financial interest in having you go into things in which they don't make a commission or that happen to be one of the best things for you.
So true. Two questions that we ask all of our clients is when they ask for a distribution or they're forced to take money out of their IRAs, and shockingly, many people don't want the money. They want it to keep going, but the IRS has a different plan for you. The first thing we say is, do you want that before or after taxes? And it's the first time somebody's ever posed that to them. They're like, well, what do you mean? And they're shocked to see how much less they're going to get. The second thing is I say, Nick, congratulations, you've been successful in life, and this money that you put into this retirement account, this IRA, you got $1 million in there. Wow, congratulations. But you've done so well elsewhere that this is money that's going to be for your children and grandchildren. And the first question I'll ask them is say, well, let me ask you a question. What is your goal? Do you want your family to have this money? And they're like, of course. Well, the way your account, the way 99% of all accounts in the country are set up, is that there's going to be a stop before it goes to your family. You have an uncle that you're not aware of, it's Uncle Sam, and he could take anywhere between 30 and 70% of that money.
People don't realize they have
Shocking.
this harder.
Right.
People don't realize when you go into a qualified plan, when you go into one of these retirement plans, nobody told you that you had an investment partner. But here's the kicker. You're going to put up all the money. You're going to take all the risk.
True.
They're not going to do anything, and then they're going to show up at the very end when you're 70.
Give me mine.
And they're going to want to take half of it. Guys, I tell anybody that's out there, run away from investments that start with numbers, right? 401k is section 401.k of the Internal Revenue Code, right? 403.b, 457, 411s. What you defer, guys, I don't believe in giving Caesar $1 more than is granted to them. But if you go and you structure, people, another big key that we see for our clients is they don't structure around their tax. They just, they want to take all the money into themselves. Mm-hmm. They don't want to set up entities. They don't want to do any planning, but then they want to have this big surprise on their face when they end up giving the lion's share of their hard-earned work back to somebody that did nothing.
Right. It sounds like you got to do some lifting up front. Nothing major, but if you don't, they say more people spend more time planning their vacation than they do their retirement. And I get it. There are certain things I'm not good at. I'm not a tech guy, right? But if you want your computers to work right, you got to spend the time. Same thing with finance. As we wrap up, I got to tell you guys, taxes are not fun. They're not exciting. They're not sexy. But I got to tell you, if you want to keep more of the hard money that you've worked so hard to accumulate, guess what? You got to just do some planning and make it work for you. And quite frankly, we want to hear your suggestions. Put it on there. Let us know. Say, hey, here are some of the issues. What can be done now? Because the more proactive you are, the more time you have on your hands, the easier the result will be, the more money will be back in your pocket. And guess what? I always come back and say the same thing. This channel was designed for you. It was designed for people to say, hey, help us navigate all these things that we're not aware of. Because guess what? If you're successful at what you're doing, you don't know this. But we are financial coaches that are going to kind of guide you through this to help you make smart decisions.
Yeah, and if you have a plan, if you're doing a particular type of investment, we want to hear from you. If you would like us to take a look at it, would like suggestions, send that all into us. Request it. Reach out to us. Set up a consultation. We'll be happy to speak with you. This is what we do. Like and follow us on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to our new YouTube channel. We love all of you guys. We appreciate all your comments and reaching out to us. Make sure that you like and share and comment on the videos. That's going to allow you to enter in a $25 raffle for an Amazon gift card. Always stay tuned for our next episodes. Make sure that you're always taking the financial bull by the horns. Don't ever mess with the bull, and make sure, guys, make us your favorites. Stay tuned to us because we are going to bring you some of the most cutting-edge financial ideas, products, vehicles that you've ever seen. Thank you, guys. We appreciate all of you.